Hey Chain Gang, welcome back to the 4 Chains. And if you have seen our original 4 Chains video, you already know those chains are actually questions that when you successfully answer them, they become a chain link. And if you can answer all 4 of those questions successfully for yourself, find your own individual answer that works for you, you will create a happy, fulfilled life. It is meant to be a simple system. It's meant to be a system that anybody can do, and we hope that it will make a difference in your life. So that first video talks about the overall theory, and now we're going to put out content that talks about the individual questions and giving you some guidance on how you can answer it for yourself. Today's first question is, how am I going to treat my body? The reason why we include this question is because whether you want it or not, you're dealing with this question. You're answering this question right now. All of the choices that you make are affecting that decision. And it's something that we want to talk about right away because there's a cruelty to this issue, right? Because when you're in your 20s and you're making choices, they do not have the profound consequence, either in a positive or a negative way, that they will have in your 50s and your 40s. So you're going to feel the consequences for that much later on. Right now, when you're making decisions in your 20s, it's not really moving the needle that much. You don't see it on a day-to-day basis. So that's why we want to talk about it now. I will address an issue. A good friend of ours said, hey, wait a minute. Do you really need to treat your body well to be happy? My response was, well, yeah, because how you treat your body affects every single day. It affects how you sleep. It affects how long you have to sleep. It affects how much energy you have during the day. It affects your alertness. It affects how you smell. It affects what your personal relationships are going to be. It affects what you are physically capable of enjoying in life. So it is something that has consequence. Now, his counter to that was, hey, the most famous fat man in the world is also the most famous jolly man in the world. Well, first of all, don't hate on Santa Claus. Let me just say this. We see all this video footage of him when he's up at the North Pole and he's preparing to go on the biggest cardio burn of all time. So yeah, he's carbing up. But if you see Santa Claus in April, the dude is shredded, and obviously he is a cardio machine. So I think that that is a terrible response. Now, I want to address something right off the bat, which is that the health industry is a billion-dollar industry. There are so many products people can sell. We are not selling those products here. And that is the reason why treating your body is not considered a simple thing, because simple doesn't sell. Simple doesn't create long books and videotapes how to do it. And what really drives me crazy is there is 2 universal truths. Diets come and go, exercise fads come and go, but there's 2 things that are always true that nobody talks about. You ready? Mind-blowing here. If you consume more calories than you burn, you will gain weight. If you burn more calories than you consume, you will lose weight. Now, that is true, period. There are some things that the playing field is not level. As you age, it becomes more difficult to burn calories. There are certain medical situations that make it more difficult to burn calories. When you consume your calories is important because that dictates what you can burn in terms of calories. But that's the bottom line. Calories consumed, calories burned, that will determine your weight. Now, health is simple. There's really only 2 issues that you have to deal with. There's only 2, and if you deal with them great, then you will be in great health. Number 1, what am I going to put in my body? And number 2, What is my body going to accomplish? And I'll explain why I phrase that way when we get there. Let's first talk about what am I going to put into my body. Number one, focus on the 4 chains. Focus on the real things that make you happy in life instead of self-medicating from being unhappy. And I am saying this because I am a victim of this. I recently went through a tough patch where a couple of my ex-employees, who I'm still very close to, had difficult family situations. Then a relative of mine had a very difficult medical situation that required a lot of time on my part. And yeah, that was a tough time. And I found myself at the end of the day just drinking. Not getting drunk, but having a few drinks. And all of a sudden I wasn't as stressed, but I wasn't sleeping as well either. And then it's 4 nights in a row, and then it's 5 nights in a row. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm self-medicating. That's what I'm doing. It's an easy thing to justify. And hopefully the more and more you focus on the 4 chains, the less and less you'll have to do with that. But whether it's drugs or cigarettes or alcohol, these are the things that are not the best way to deal with your stress. And we're going to talk about the most important one, which is smoking. You have to quit smoking. I don't see a lot of people that are truly permanently happy who smoke. You deserve to love yourself enough to quit smoking because the impact that it has on your life is so profound and so wide-ranging. Obviously, cost. Some people are trying to save all the money that they spend on cigarettes, and if you smoke cigarettes, start adding that up by vaping. But now those people who are vaping are getting popcorn lung as well as still getting the nicotine. All they're doing is saving a little bit of money. But if you smoke, you're also paying more for health insurance. You're also paying more for life insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It is such a profound effect on your health that companies are forced to include smoking in the price range. There's 2 different price ranges for both health and life insurance, whether you're a smoker or you're not. That's how profound it is. But it affects how you smell, how your clothing smells, how your car smells, how you smell. It affects how you breathe. It affects how you sleep. It affects everything. And one of the things that nobody ever talks about, because it's a very sensitive issue, but I'm just going to put it out there, it affects the range of romantic partners that are available to you and friends, but specifically talking about romantic partners, one of the 4 chains is, should I live my life with a partner? And if you decide the answer for you is yes, the pool you have to choose from, the best way to reduce it is to be a smoker. You can just Google it, the amount of articles about how that is the #1 deal breaker for people. And, that's a huge price to pay for what? For the privilege of spending all that money, for the privilege of breathing poorly, for having bad breath, for having bad teeth, for having less money. What are you buying in exchange for having that pool of friends and romantic partners reduced? To me, it's not worth it. If you are smoking, send me a message. Put in the comments, whatever, about how much you spend a week on smoking. And you will be absolutely startled about how much money you would have if you stopped and invested that money, how much money you would retire with. But it's a lot. Here's a much easier one. Replace at least 1 meal with a protein shake. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I cannot stand Tom Brady, but I did do the TB12 diet. During the loss portion of that, you take a few days a week and you replace 2 meals with protein shakes. Now that I'm on the maintenance, I only use 1. But it makes a big difference, particularly if you do it in the morning when your body is craving lean proteins and not carbs, right? And you're also, in terms of what you should put into your body, you need to think about it in terms of a lifestyle, not a diet. We did a 30-day fitness challenge. There's videos on there for it, but the rules were no sugary desserts, no salty snacks, no alcohol, and working out for 30 days straight. And it does make a big difference, but that's not what I want you to do. I want you to focus on a diet that you can enjoy for your entire life. Well, you know, it's making choices. So I would also say moderation in everything. Diet fads come and go. People talk about it. I remember at one point all my friends were doing the Atkins diet, and I thought about it because I love meat, but then the guy who came up with the diet died of a heart attack. I think that there's a lot of situations where you can go overboard, but if you create a balanced diet that is good for you, that you can maintain, and it becomes a lifestyle, you will see how much it benefits you. Let's talk about what my body is going to accomplish. There's a reason why I word it that way. Obviously, if you go to the gym today and you do a workout, you've accomplished something, right? But I want you to think about that in other stuff. If you have a sit-down job, that is going to make it more difficult for you to burn calories, to maintain your weight while you're sitting at a desk 40 hours a week. So you can accomplish things like biking to work instead of driving a car, like taking the stairs instead of taking the elevator, like getting an adjustable keyboard so you can rotate standing and sitting. Anything that you can do that is movement that your body accomplishes is a good thing. Let's focus on the most specific one, exercise. Let me be very clear. You do not have time not to exercise. You don't. You might think, oh, well, my work starts at this particular time and I'd be way too tired. I'd have to get up at this time, etc., etc. You're going to find that none of that's true. The Rock gets up at 5 a.m. every morning to work out. You don't think he's busy? Do you think he seems in his movies and whatnot to be tired to you? No. Because when you exercise, it gives you an energy. It increases your cardio health. It gets your metabolism going. And I find that when I have an early morning meeting or an early morning time when I have to be at one of my stores or something like that, when I work out, I can see the people that did not work out, that slept longer than me, and they don't seem nearly as energetic. They don't seem nearly as ready to tackle the day. If you exercise, you will need less sleep. You will get more mileage out of the sleep that you have, and during the day, you will have more energy to accomplish more. So you do not have time not to exercise. Motion is lotion. This is another thing that becomes more apparent as you age. There's two people that are very close to me that are the exact same age. One of them retired 15 years ago, and one of them is still working. And at the time that the person retired 15 years ago, you would have guessed that they were very similar in age. You would not guess that now. Now one looks decades older than the other, and it's simply because not the simple fact that they retired. If you can retire early, God bless you. It's just the fact that then their lives became restricted merely to where they were living, and there just wasn't enough movement. You can retire if you're still doing things, if you're still staying active. It makes a huge difference. It should be of note for those of you who go to a chiropractor that chiropractors used to discourage weightlifting for people that had bad backs. They no longer do that unless you're in an acute injury phase, because we've learned there is a principle that when you're using those joints, when you're moving, when you're getting your joints used to impact like that, that it's doing something for it, right? Now, along those lines, here's some advice. Follow our workout routines. For our 30-day fitness challenge, we issued the workout routines that Angie and I were doing at the time, and we're doing something similar now, but video number 1 is chest back. Okay, you spend the day working on, the reverse of the muscles. You do in the chest, then you're doing the back. Then we have a second video, which is arm day. Now, arm day is, mostly, triceps and biceps and stuff like that. And then the third day is abdominals and cardio/legs. Watch those videos. You can do those videos, particularly if you don't have a great back, because those videos are specifically designed for people that need to protect their back, okay? But If you're doing something else, keep doing that until you plateau. Switch up your exercise routines. Do one until you feel like you're not making progress. There's things you can do, add sets and add reps and stuff to make progress. But once you feel you're not making it, switch it up. So you're having impact on your joints, your muscles, you're moving them, but it's not the exact same impact. If I had my druthers, I would run. But if you know anybody that's a career runner, like they have knees mostly, but also back and ankle issues because it is the same repetitive motion over and over again. So that's why it's important to do workout routines, but to switch them up. Sitting, we talked about this already. Sitting is not the new smoking. It's not. It's like people who say, hey, jumping off a bridge 50 feet into water is like jumping on the concrete. No, it's not. It's like jumping into water. It may still hurt, but it's not like jumping on the concrete. It's just not. And sitting is not the new smoking. However, you should be aware that sitting does suck. And anytime you can avoid sitting, you should avoid sitting. We talked about the work situation. If you work from home like my daughter does, you can break it up with walks, walking the dog, walking whatever. Find ways not to sit. So the bottom line is there is never a bad time to start treating your body correctly. Every choice that you make is going to affect you on the long term. And what we want this to be about is you feeling healthy and being able to get the most out of life. So if you want to go on this journey with us, please subscribe, like the video, subscribe. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. We answer 90% of the comments. If you subscribe, we will also give you a shout out on a subsequent video. You can just put what you want in the comments on YouTube, what you want your shout out to be, and we will do it on a following video. And we really look forward to seeing you on the next one.